to 2,500 subscribers. Salute. Today we are doing a Mustang tier list, an ultimate Mustang tier list. Well, ultimate. If I took all the time necessary to make a list with every single model of these cars that Ford built over the years, I'd probably be here for 3 days straight. So I pretty much paraphrased, put all the necessary models in there. We'll see if that'll make do. A big thing to keep in mind is that this is subjective. It's all my opinion. Now, my opinions are based on all sorts of different things like cool factor, performance, looks, etc. Feel free to fight me in the comments on some of these radical decisions I'm about to make and the absolute flaring of some of these cars and boosting of others. But without further ado, let's dig in. Actually, hold that thought. Before we really get started, I have to just do things. All right, that's better. Okay. So as you can see, I set a baseline. I'd argue that the Terminator is one of the most loved Mustangs ever made, and it's my personal favorite of the entire batch. Car's got legacy, it's got cool factor, looks good. It's got that was a car that Ford actually when they made that Mustang, they didn't make it to make money. They made it because they loved what they did. And the Mach-E is the exact opposite. It doesn't look good. It's Ford trying to do a cash grab, trying to get money out of a different type of crowd than usual Mustang owners. So I mean, it's a good range. So with all that out of the way, so our tier list will start with the 1966 Mustang Fastback. Now this car is a fantastic car, and everyone's got to love it. But I think I'm going to A tier. I think A tier is fair. I almost did B, but I feel like that's doing a disservice to the car that started the legacy, and also the fastback version of the 66 model it's a beautiful car. It's kind of dated for sure. It's definitely a 60s car, but it's still beautiful nonetheless. But I don't feel the same way about this next car, the 69 model. Now, the 1969, yes, it's an older car. It's dated, but it's also timeless at the same time. And that's why I'm going to put this car A tier. Beautiful car. I mean, it's just a badass car. That's the most muscle car that the Mustang has ever been, in my opinion, is that car right there. But then we enter the early 70s. Now we have this bad unit right here, which I think is, I'm pretty sure that's a Mach 1. These cars, C tier. I don't like them. They're just, a lot of people hate the Mustang too. I think these are grosser. Like the early 70s Mustangs. When it comes to this car, it's a no for me, dog. Next, we have the Mustang 2. Mustang 2s are very interesting with me because, I think because everybody hates them, I kind of have a soft spot for them because of that fact. Now, a lot of them are disgusting, but I've definitely seen some flavorful looking Mustang 2s before. But because I know it's the Mustang 2, I mean, we're going to have to put that C tier. There's just no way about it. I mean, maybe even D. I think we're going to have to put a D tier just because I know every single person is going to say that belongs in the D tier. I think it could be a C, could even be an A if they're done right. I've seen some pretty nice looking Mustang 2s that would make you rethink, but D tier car for sure. Next, we got the early Fox body Mustangs, the 79 through 80 something. These cars are a good B tier car. Now this isn't a specific model, it's just like your 5.0 of the time. The reason I say B, and I might even say C, either one of these, is because of the fact that this was during the oil crisis, and that's when the cars were slow. A lot of them didn't even have 5 liters in it, I'm pretty sure. And the car just wasn't meant to be what the Mustang was meant to be. So they couldn't really spread their wings with that car, and it really showed, and history will show it. But then Ford, they as the oil crisis started to subside and they actually got back into building cars, budget was low, but they started doing it. SVT comes out with this bad unit right here. This is the 93 Cobra, and this car is definitely A tier. Sweet car, beautiful car. Would I ever own one? Maybe. Doesn't fit my budget, but they're beautiful cars, and it's when Ford was like, okay, we need to actually get to work and build something that's actually sweet. And the reason I don't have a Fox body Saleen in here is because I don't know anything about Fox body Saleens. So you can just assume that I'm putting it right here with this Cobra because they're also as cool in my opinion. Next, we got the 9495 Cobra. Again, I'd say B tier car. Definitely before the Fox, for sure, if I can move it. Yeah, there you go. I'd say it's a high B, low A tier car. It's a beautiful car. I love 9495 Cobras. It's not really something you can mess up on. Next up, we got the 96 through 98 Saleens S281. I'd definitely say it's an A tier car. Now we have the 96 through 98 Cobra. I would definitely say it's also an A or high B tier car. I wouldn't say it's the nicest as a Saleens or a Fox body Cobra, so we're just gonna plop that right in here, right around the same area as our 9495 Cobra. All right, next up we have the 2-valve, which belongs right here, realistically. I definitely equal it out with these older generation Cobras, even though this one right here probably makes more horsepower than the 2-valve. But it's because the 2-valve was just like the new Edge is just a better looking car in my opinion. I mean, an S95 is an elegant car, but now we have the new Edge Saleens. That bad unit's going in there. I mean, a new Edge S281. It's gorgeous. It's elegant. It's got everything that you would love about the S95, but it's got those edges, which, in my opinion, matches the Saleens like edginess of the company, edginess of their franchise, edginess of the car that they were trying to build. Next up, we have the new Edge Mach 1. To be honest with you, I'm not going to lie to you. It's a GT with a 4-valve in it. But it's definitely better than a 2-valve, and I would own one any day over a 2-valve. Now we're on to the 3-valve. Oh boy, the 3-valve. Where have they gone? We will never know. I would say it's actually underneath the 2-valve. It's a better car. It's newer. It's more reliable. It drives nicer. They're faster. But at the end of the day, I feel like there's a lot less character in these early S197 Mustangs. And for me personally, in my opinion, I would probably rather go spend a little bit less money and go with the 2-valve, even if I had the money for this one. Because you can get this car, boost it, make it really nice, really fun, really fast, and really raw for the same money you'd buy one of these in A. And then you'd still, and this one boosted would destroy one of those in A, obviously. Next up, we have the S197 Saleens, which I'm going to put in there, the A tier. I love those cars. They're pretty sweet. They made the S197, which isn't a very good looking car. They made it kind of nice. Same thing with the Shelby. The Shelby in those era, even slightly better than some of these cars in here. Now we're on to the early Coyote Mustangs, the early S197 Coyotes before the facelift. I'm going to say these are a low A tier car. Low A tier. Pretty, looks good, and they're pretty cool. They're pretty cool and fun cars, I would say. So I'm definitely gonna put it in the A tier. Post facelift S197 Coyotes. This one is going to aggravate everyone. I'm actually going to put this car high B tier. And I know it's hard for you to understand. I hate these cars. I mean, they can look pretty good. This one actually on this picture right here looks immaculate. But a lot of them, the more stocker they are, the more I'd rather have a stock one of these. I personally like the pre-facelift cars more. I think they kind of just made it look kind of like a Dodge-ish in the later ones. And in my opinion, that's why Ford made those and was like, okay, we need to change it. Now, with that being said, I don't feel at all the same way about the Shelby. The 11, I mean, obviously 11 to whatever is different from the 1314, but we have a 1314 in this picture, I think. Actually, I'm not sure. But all Shelbys, even the 1314s, they are a different breed. For some reason, even though they're not much different than a GT appearance-wise, they're just gorgeous cars. And I would definitely put one right there, right in S tier. Actually, I'd put it above both of these cars, actually. You can't go wrong with a, early 2010s Shelby GT500. They're fast, they're sweet. Now we're on to the Gen 2 Coyote. I personally like these cars. I like them a lot, and I would definitely put them as a high A tier car. They're sweet. You don't see a whole lot of Gen 2s out there ripping around because they're kind of like a redheaded stepchild in the era of the Coyotes. You have a lot of Gen 1s that are out there souped up, and you have a lot of Gen 3, 10-speed deals. Which leads us to our next one, is the 10-speed. I would definitely say the 10-speed is a better car. So that's why we were going to put the 10-speed right there. I'd much rather have a 10-speed than a Gen 2. I like the fact that Ford kind of, I'm not an automatic guy at all, but I like the fact that Ford kind of went after it with their automatic endeavors. They made the nice 10-speed paddle shifters. Me, I'm not an automatic guy, but I would definitely own one of those cars. And in the distant future, it may be something that I might actually look into because of the fact that it would be kind of nice to park a nice, reliable, new, smells new, just drives itself, 10-speed, still fun, but yet less work to drive car right next to the Terminator. The Saleens white label. I would say I would rather have one over the 10-speed, but I would definitely not say it's too much of a better car. It looks good. They're great cars, and they're Saleens. It's a good looking car, but they're definitely the price. You're definitely paying for the niceness of the car. But I like them. I do like Saleens white labels. Now these, the black label Saleens. I don't know why no one's talking about these. These are freaking sweet. I'm gonna put them as like a low S tier car, but like Saleens black labels, they get out and they're really nice looking. I mean they're different. You don't see too many of those riding around. All right, now we're on to the last three. Next up we have the Shelby GT350. I think that's a 350R on there, but I'm not sure. The Shelby GT350 is a badass piece of machinery, and I would put that right there at the top of S tier. Now, a lot of people are going to say it belongs above the Terminator, and I would say I can't fight that logic. But in my list of cars, it's going to stay right there at S. Next up, we got the Mach. This one's going to aggravate people. Already, just get your fingers ready to start typing. This one's gonna be right here. It's slightly better than like the other Gen 3, but it's just a GT with a Tremec in it, and it looks kind of a little bit better. But it's just a GT with a Tremec in it. I mean, they didn't really make the car look a whole lot different. The front looks better, but you know it's got cool paint jobs, I guess, that go on it. But like they want a lot of money for that car right there, and there's not much of a price difference between this Mach 1 and this GT350. Like we're talking like maybe, I don't know the market around the country, but in where I am, it's like a 15 to 20K difference, which is a lot of money. But with the 350, you're getting so much car. Like that's a lot of car there. That's a car that will be valuable for a very long time, and it'll be something that people want, you know, 30, 40, 50 years from now. The Mach, I just don't feel like it's going to have that same kind of, I don't think it's going to hold its value the same. Would I go out of my way to buy a Mach 1? No. Last, but certainly not least, we have the 2020 Shelby GT500. Oh boy. I don't forget if they're like the fastest or the highest horsepower, but I think they're one of those. I think it's highest horsepower. They're the highest horsepower Ford production vehicle ever made, and the highest horsepower Mustang ever made. And they're just badass. They look cool. They're freaking tight. They're instruments of war. They're race cars, but they're race cars that have individual climate control. Sure, you're paying for those things, but it's still a badass car, and that's why I have decided to put it right here at the top of my Mustang tier list, right there next to the Terminator, because in my opinion, the 2020 GT500 has more Terminator blood pumping through its veins than any other car besides it. And me, as a big Terminator guy, I can say that there's only one other car that I would ever like really want of the new era, and that would definitely be the 2020. Now, don't take that away from any other GT500 or Shelby product. I love them all. They're all fast. They're all really cool. But I feel like that 2020 just, it's like pulley tune or something like that. They're already making like near 4-digit power. That's bananas. You go buy a car and it's like, yeah, throw pulley tune on it, maybe some injectors, bam. Wham, bam, thank you, ma'am, 1,000 horsepower on the street with a car that'll probably take you. You could probably hop in it. I live in Florida. You probably hop in it, drive it all the way to California, and it wouldn't sweat at all. Well, guys, I hope you enjoyed my list. If you guys have any opinions you want to drop, or let me know what you guys think of everything you've seen here today, definitely let me know. I want to hear your opinions on how you would have placed different vehicles differently, and if I forgot any cars, you know, let me know in the comments, and I'll tell you how I feel about those too. But thank you for valuing my opinion for 20 minutes. And, yeah, you guys take care. See you in the next one.